Hey there guys, we're taking a look at Evil Dead, the video game running on the AMD Ryzen 5 5560U. Now this is running on the Beelink SER5 mini PC. And it is paired with 16 gigabytes of RAM and it is running at the high performance power plan, which actually allows the APU to boost all the way up to 25 watts. Now it doesn't always consistently stay at that range while gaming, but it does hover around that range. Now this game, which is currently free on Epic right now, actually has a pretty limited selection of graphics settings, but we're running everything at pretty much the lowest setting, even the internal render resolution, which actually doesn't really even tell you what resolution it's running at. It just goes from low, medium, high, and epic render resolution. So I set it to the lowest. Not 100% sure what that really means, but it definitely does not look great. And unfortunately, even though it's running at a really low setting, it does not perform that well. Specifically in the 1% lows here, we are getting averages that are pretty much in the mid-20s, which is really just not going to be a great experience. But if those 1% lows were closer to the 20 FPS range, we could at least have something here. But the fact that the 1% lows are in the single FPS digits, it really just shows that this is going to be a rough experience. You can see here with the frame time chart that it is overall going to be a very brutal experience. And after messing around with about 3 games on here, just trying different things to try to get this to perform anywhere near decent, it was overall just not a great experience. It really made the overall experience of trying to play this game extremely brutal. There would be moments where it would actually perform half decent, but for the most part it kept itself at a range that I would really say that the vast majority of people would not find enjoyable. Really, those frame time charts there let you know pretty much everything you need to know there, where we will have sudden spikes from all the way down to 9 milliseconds all the way up to around 70 or 80, which means that overall it's a very inconsistent experience. There is so much latency in between the frames that even this low FPS feels even worse than the number that we're seeing there, as evident by those 1% lows. So this is a perfect example of a game that is really just screaming while trying to be played. And you'll see that it is completely a GPU limitation here. CPU is not even really getting hit that hard, while the GPU is pretty much completely maxed out here and overall not providing a very great experience. The Radeon 6 is certainly not a powerhouse here, and it very much shows. I certainly don't think that if this was the Radeon 7 or even a Radeon 8, it would provide much of an uplift at all, but it does show that really at this point the Vega architecture is just being pushed to its limit, and we really just need RDNA 2 to start making its way into the budget segment. And hopefully with the 7000 series we're actually going to start to see that, even if it means that we just get a refresh of the 6000 series on the low end. It would certainly make a pretty major advancement in the overall experience of iGPU gaming, because at this point Vega is really just not cutting it anymore, and Vega has made itself very welcome by being around for such a long time. So I'm really hoping that AMD finally decides to Ole Yeller this architecture and we can finally move on to RDNA and just have everything consolidated onto one architecture, because it has become very clear that a lot of people really don't understand that Vega is still being used here. So I think that the renaming of Vega over to just Radeon in general has proven to be pretty successful for AMD in hiding the fact that they have not had an iGPU architecture advancement in a pretty decent while. Of course, RDNA 2 is present now with the 6000 series, but not in a meaningful capacity considering how long it took for us to get any 6000 series laptops available anywhere. And even though now they're a bit more widely available, they're still not hitting price points that I think a lot of consumers would like them to be in. A $500 system with RDNA 2 would make a pretty major difference in the overall experience for people, instead of relegating it to more around the $900 segment. But overall, I gotta say, I really do not recommend playing this game on here at all. It's going to be a very rough experience, and I think that for the vast majority of people, it's just not going to be worth it. But anyways, I will catch you in the next one.